start with like free ads, so free different concepts. I have this like core loop with gameplay, fingers, whatever else, like tooltips, like the regular stuff, which is around gameplay, but can be slightly altered. You can use memes, you can use AI hooks, you can use whatever the fuck you want. Just don't overcomplicate it.
It's 4 a.m. and we're rolling the dice. Matej drops knowledge made of golden eyes. Felix with ads making those coins rise. Jack up designs, worlds chasing the sky. We're the 2.5 gamers, the midnight crew. Talking UA adverts and game design too. Matej, Felix, Shaka bringing the insight. We're rocking those vibes till the early daylight. Matej, UA, master eyes on the prize. Tracking data through the cyberspace skies. Felix stacks dollars like a wizard in disguise. Jackup's crafted realms lift us to the highs. 2.5 gamers talking smack. Slow hockey stick, got your back. Ads are beautiful, they light the way. Click it fast, don't delay.
Hello, everybody. This is Matej Lancaric, and this is another great solo episode. And honestly, it's been a year since we started doing this, and funnily enough, the first ever solo episode recorded was in this room, and it was a complete failure. But as you know us, we keep doing things. But we heard your feedback, we changed things a little bit because the idea was us playing games, and while we play a game, we actually talk about an interesting topic. But then you said, fuck this. We want to hear more. You use presentations, whatever else, and then, we started doing that. So thank you very much for the support for the whole year. I hope you learned a lot. We definitely learned a lot, and we're going to keep bringing these episodes for you, I hope, for another year. So today, I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic. Again, it's all interesting. And then since it's me, it's going to be UA and UA related. And I have a presentation. Woohoo! How fancy. How fancy. And then I'm actually going to go through step-by-step campaign build up. Okay, guys. So look, step-by-step guide how to launch successful meta campaigns, because I released an MVP setup, which I think is very important when you're starting with the campaigns. And you've been asking about this for so long. You start with the campaigns, but where should you start? So I'm going to talk about the Facebook site, and I'm going to talk about the in-app purchase campaigns and in-app ads campaigns, because I just released, if you want to have the full guide, step-by-step in a written form, I'm going to share the links in the show notes, but I want to go through this presentation and then actually build the campaign in this episode with you, and then we'll see what happens. So I'm going to talk about the preparations and tracking, obviously, what can we use for targeting, how to think about the budgeting side of things. Also going to talk about the creative strategy and the execution, and what kind of different creative concepts you can start with. Also, if you didn't watch the previous episodes about creative trends, you should definitely watch that episode. But anyway, so let's start with the preparations and tracking, and obviously I'm going to go through the campaign build up after the presentation. So always super, super important. You need to have everything ready in your kind of data pipeline and setup. So you need to integrate either Facebook SDK or Firebase, ideally both, or an MMP SDK. It's either it's Singular, Airbridge, Upslayer, Adjust. Honestly, doesn't matter. But you have to have it in your app or in your game. And not only integrated and obviously tested before you start spending money, but you need to have event tracking. And event tracking meaning, as I have here, you need to be able to track installs and attribute it into the different channels. Of course, we are starting with Facebook only now, but also additional events, because you want to run purchase-oriented campaigns and target payers. So you need to be able to target payers as well. So that's highly recommended. This is just very minimum viable setup. And this is where it gets interesting, because this not only works for in-app ads games or ad monetized games, this can work for any other game, even IIP games. And I'm diving deep into this topic in my newsletters very soon, because this is what everybody is calling now signal engineering, and you want to send multiple different events into the UA channels to get different types of users. And I'm very proud of this, but I'm going to call this what you send is what you get. So the good old WYSIWYG, it's what you see is what you get kind of editor within the websites. this is again what you send is what you get. So I'm very fucking proud of myself. Hopefully not anyone came up with this term before, but you need to kind of combine different events to get different types of players and you or users. In this case, you have all these different combinations of events tracked and sent back to Facebook. So for example, here I want to see who actually achieved 3 days and at the same time spent in the game at least 1 hour. Or I want to get the event which says, or like it fires as soon as a player spends 30 minutes, but at the same time spends $5, achieved level 20, and made 2 purchases and watch 5 ads or vice versa. So you can see all these different combinations. Ideal scenario is you try to do this within first 24 to 48 hours to be able to act quickly and get as much data as possible. So like what should you start with? Well, usually these budgets are something that I always kind of start with. Again, up to you, but I wouldn't go below 100 per day because then it's just going to be all over the place, especially with purchase optimized campaigns. But let's say to kind of, you can have some kind of data, but the first setup, I always try to target the whole world, basically US as a standalone, tier 1, and the rest of the world. On iOS, and trying to do a kind of combination of US plus tier 1. You can do it on iOS, on Android as well, up to you, but you have more data points. I'm now kind of not really looking into scan anymore because aggregated even measurement is the way to go. Although I still see some kind of discrepancy between what I see on Facebook and what I see in App Store Connect. But I mean, welcome to 2025. Then that was what I'm starting with purchase-oriented campaigns. If I have this ad monetized game, then the setup is slightly different. I'm starting with the app event optimization combination of the events, like I mentioned, tutorial, complete, or the combination of the events, level 10 and play 30 minutes, or level 30, something which kind of identifies the user as engaged user or engaged player, and then building some kind of data points to be able to go to the value optimized campaigns and ad ROAS-based campaigns. In ideal scenario, you run both. Depends on the actual monetization split of your game, if it's 50-50 or if it's 70-30. But still, for iOS, I know it's in the beta right now. Facebook, you should definitely give me that beta access for some of the games I manage. Wink, wink. But if you don't have that, then you won't be able to run the ad ROAS campaigns on iOS yet. So what you do is you basically go for the app event optimized campaigns and then just do these combined events or some events that are kind of suggesting that these players are engaged. Therefore, they are watching more ads. So there you go. And I'm talking about the kind of tier 1 and what does it mean. Usually this is what it means for me: US, UK, Germany, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea and Japan, and then the rest of the world. But obviously, if you have data, then for example, if you're Italy, Spain, France, or whatever else is performing well and you're monetizing well in these countries, they just put it into the tier 1. And then you can go even below that. You can go tier 2. There's another mix of countries, and then the rest of the world. I'm always have the whole world covered, at least from the start. Then you can narrow down the different campaigns and different geos afterwards. So, what can you basically use for targeting? Obviously, broad targeting, which works kind of well, but also even, there are like these different kind of times and changes over time. 5 years ago, even, I think the lookalikes still it's one of the top shit in UA. Different type of purchasers, top purchasers, like purchasers with value and whatever else. Not that sexy anymore. I'm kind of still experimenting here and there with it, but anyway, it's still pretty good, but you need to get data. How you get data? Well, you can run interest targeting, which also is kind of deprecated. It's not really the thing anymore. But even if you use the strategy or RPG or casual type of interest in kind of genre interest, it's still better than broad targeting. Although we can kind of debate that nowadays creative is the targeting. Well, yes and no. You still need to send more data points, and let's say, for example, for a soft launch, you go with broad, it's basically everybody. So you need to help the algorithm to learn, because then it takes ages and a lot of budget until you see what exactly works. So let's say you're running a mobile app install campaign, instead of going to like broad campaign, broad targeting, if reinstall campaign, you kind of use the interest and they'll build it from there. You then go for up, even optimized. But that's a topic for a soft launch episode, which is actually live on this channel. So you should definitely check it out. Anyway, what should you do with the budget and pacing, and what can you kind of expect? You need to set some rules and goals and like how you move forward. So for the first 7 days, I mean, let's just be calm, keep the planned budgets, in learning, and don't really jump the gun and just increase the budget all over the place. I think what you can do, and it's here like after that, I mean, if you see after 3 or 5 days you are getting somewhere and the numbers are getting better, you can start scaling or like increasing the budget by 20-30% every 3 days, but only if your other KPIs are kind of looking good, which means ROAS. If you increase the budget, then the CPI, if it goes crazy or not. Usually when you increase the budget, the CPI spikes a little bit and then comes down. I mean, there's kind of like these rules, like you don't really exceed the budgets for the revenues. I mean, this is the old kind of saying that you usually try to target this. Up to you, but I try to have this in my mind. So like what should we start in terms of the creatives and like how to go about it? So start with like free ads, so 3 different concepts. I have this like core loop with gameplay, fingers, whatever else, like tooltips, like the regular stuff which is around gameplay but can be slightly altered. You know, you can use memes, you can use AI hooks, you can use whatever the fuck you want. Just don't overcomplicate it. Start with 3 concepts that add variations. Variations can be, again, different hook. It can be different length. It can be different sound, different pace. All these different things. It's just an iteration. So let's start with nine different ads. If you need help, I can show you my creative template as well, so you can then go from there, because this is also something that I will show you, or just this is something I will add into the show notes. So what I'm always talking about these different concepts. So you can start with near death experience. There are some examples, obviously AI hooks, which are super important. Ugly ads that you kind of record yourself with wherever. We have these different things that we tried. Street interviews are super popular these days. All of these different examples, you can also slap a wall of text on the video, which kind of is a very easy iteration. Like it's really popular within apps and some games as well. UGC, or creator generated content, not only talking heads but actually videos. Yeah, well, like why I should play these videos, right? I mean, we can try to see. This is kind of the example of the creator generated content. We have all of these different things. It's not only talking head anymore. So that's why I'm talking about it. And there's like the memes, obviously, which can work quite well. Ideal scenarios, it actually works with the sound. But who gives a fuck? There you go. So all these different things work really well. And then you can also use the dev generated content, like developer generated content, because I mean, you kind of build this game, app, whatever. So people usually resonate with the guys or whoever actually build it. So those are a few examples that you can check. If you need that template, it's gonna be in the show notes. So, but yeah, like what should we do on a day-to-day basis? Don't overcomplicate stuff. The work of the UA manager is not always changing something. There are days where you check the numbers and you do exactly nothing, and it's completely fine, right? Because if you start doing millions of things and changes, you're gonna fuck up all the campaigns. Don't do it. You check the CPIs, the whatever you wanna see, and the KPIs and the goals. You check it in the morning. You check it in like during like the day, and then in the evening, and that's it. And even if everything is fine, then you just don't do anything. If something goes wrong, then again, like cut the worst part and refresh creatives and leave it for another 3 days. Like don't do it every day. So again, like what should we do? Step like day by day. So first 3 days, again, nothing that like really major. Check the campaigns after we go live. Then monitor your ad creatives and watch you try to make sense of like the CPI versus LTV equation. Or if you set the benchmarks, if your day 1, day 2, day 3 ROAS is 10%, but your goal is 20%, then you need to act. Then you need to change creatives, you need to change the campaigns a little bit. If you meet the goal, we can then at the end of like the first week start adding the budgets. Then you go from the creative refresh. Ideal scenario now, after the first week, you have the 9 creatives. You already try to brainstorm the new ideas and go from there. Same thing, you go from the up event optimized purchase campaigns that I mentioned in the setup to value optimized campaigns and try to test it out against each other. If value optimization wins, just go full on into the value optimization, because that's going to bring you more whales. And then keep in mind, you're not going to optimize for purchases when your game is ad monetized. You're not going to stack 5-10 different campaigns in one geo, because it doesn't work. You really don't have like 10 small campaigns with like $20 or $30 each. It's not going to work because it's too low. You're not going to send enough data towards the UA channels. I know it can be really daunting, but allocate some budget for testing. I usually try to have like 5,000 budget per month just to see like what works. I know it's, for some of you, it's basically a lot, but usually if you're in this stage and you're trying to get the first campaigns live, you need to have like 5, 10, 15K allocated for this first kind of months, because you just don't know what works yet. So if you have questions, ask in the comments, go into the Slack channel, or yeah, I think that's it. That's it. That's pretty much it. So now what are we gonna do? Now we are gonna go through the campaign setup. But before doing that, I'm gonna show you the events examples. So I was talking about the different combinations of events and whatever else, blah blah blah. So here, for example, we have the identification of plans, diagnosing a plan. There's a subscription, obviously, and now it's going to be interesting. It starts to get interesting. Fire an event when the user identified 5 plans, or like another event. An example of fire an event when the user did a yearly subscription and identified 5 plans. Then there's diagnosed 5 plans, and then whatever else, right? So there's so many different combinations: yearly subscription, 10 identified plans, and whatever else. So this is what you should aim for, and there is no limits. Although you see, like here, all these events are just not firing that many times, which is going to be very tough to use in the campaigns. But here, the planned yearly subscription and identification of 5 ads, not bad. Here, this also works quite well. Okay, so let's just go here. Let's create a campaign. Let's just go up promotion. Let's see. Testing campaign. Yeah, so let's do 150. Let's just go for the plan. Okay, there you go. And then we can just use it as a US plus tier 1. And we definitely want to go for the different events that I have. Yeah, like you add an impression, purchase, share, whatever else. But I actually want to go for exactly this. Let's say plan a weekly subscription and identify 2 ads. Identified 2 plans. There you go. So all of this is set. Now we don't go to Slovakia, obviously, because I'm from Slovakia, but nobody cares about Slovakia. But we do care about US, and we do care about United Kingdom. We do care about Germany, and we do care about Japan as well. We care about Canada. So you get the point, right? You get the point. Me, placements, whatever else, platforms, blah, blah. So all of this you want to use. You don't want iPads or iPods, because this is only and I just want to get rid of the skippable ads, which nobody knows what it is, but it really drags down the performance. Okay, so US tier 1 up event optimized campaign, weekly plus 2 plans identified. Perfect. Okay, so here we go. This is what we need. We have the everything we want. Okay, and now we just go with creatives. I mean, we can just test. Yes, all of this is fine. Multi-advertiser ads, no. All of these AI bullshit stuff from Facebook, get rid of it. Okay, so let's just go video. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah. So I'm starting with the 9 to 16 usually, and then after I see what works, then I'm adding the 1 to 1 and 4 to 4 to 5. There you go. Whatever, that's fine. Install. Yes. Thank you. Also, no details, not multi-image, no visual does not text improvements, no video effects. I don't really want these. There you go. And then you hit publish, and there we go. There we go. If you have any questions, our dear listeners, about Facebook, about UA, about this minimum viable setup, please let me know in the show note, not the show notes, in the comment section of the video. Join the Slack channel. If you want to buy my Soft Launch ebook, please do so. You're gonna support all of this and the great videos we are doing at the moment. So thank you guys for listening. Please, again, if you have any comments, share them with us. See you next time. Bye bye.